Hey everyone, it is Luke Frye with Timber Tax, and I am just going to make sure I'm set up everywhere. Last time I had a little bit of issues with my computer. So happy Thursday, everybody, or if you're watching this later, good to have you with us. I have been receiving some good feedback on the videos, so I'm glad that people are actually watching them. And, I do hope that you're able to ask questions as you have them. And I'll be as diligent as possible about answering them as well. So hopefully anyone who's received payroll protection program money has some plan in place. And what I really wanted to talk about today is making sure you pay yourself. And the forgiveness application, ideally, you've had a chance to look through it. If you have very specific questions about the timing or anything related to the payroll protection forgiveness process, I highly recommend that you do go to your bank and talk to your lender directly. They're going to be the ones who will be able to give you a specific advice on their application. So just like the application for the loan is going to be managed by the lender, the application for the forgiveness will be managed by the lender as well. So the most important thing to think about today before the end of May is most people have gotten their money within the last like 4 weeks or something like that. And what we really need to be targeting is this 8-week period. And the forgiveness application does allow for an alternate period. So I'm talking more specifically to people who are on payroll. So this is probably somebody who is an S corporation. If you haven't paid yourself yet, you need to make sure that you have. The maximum that qualifies for forgiveness, we've actually kind of gone around and around on this a little bit because it was the 100,000 and then it was 2.5 months and it was 2 months. But if you just take 100,000 and divide it by 52 times 8, that should be the maximum amount for payroll that will be forgiven. That still should give you the other 25% available to pay for rent and other costs like that. Oh, thanks, Diane. I keep having issues with my phone on my computer and my fan, so we'll see if this works. So the maximum you'll probably be able to qualify for forgiveness for is that 15,384. So I do recommend that you have a separate account. I think one thing that we did go over last time, somebody did mention that I had recommended people open savings accounts, and I think it probably makes more sense to open a checking account. So that way you're avoiding some of those fees. If you have any sort of a bookkeeping system, which I hope you do, make sure you use tracking categories or classes or tagging and mark every transaction that you're trying to get forgiven, PPP, which will help ensure that reporting those transactions and pulling reports is really simple. So I would go ahead and recommend, if you haven't paid yourself and you're paying yourself on payroll, to go ahead and pay yourself the $76.92.30 for May. And then in the next 4 weeks, make sure you pay yourself that much again. Similarly, if you're a sole proprietor, so you're on Schedule C, I would go ahead and make sure that you are transferring one half of it within the first 4 weeks of getting the money, and then the other half of it from your business account to you personally in the final 4 weeks. So this is just your reminder that May is almost finished. Hard to believe. And we're just getting ramped up for the July 15th tax day, which is super bizarre. Some other things to keep in mind is that July 15th, if you're working with us to get your second quarter projection calculated for you, we're actually going to be doing that, requesting everything be in by June 15th. And so we really want to have your May financials. So I highly recommend you work with your bookkeeper to get your May financials done as soon as possible, which will help us give you the most up-to-date, accurate information for your July 15th second quarter projection. If you're not currently engaged with us to do a second quarter projection, we'll be sending out an email about that next week on how to purchase that service. I know that it's something that some of you have thought a lot about, and maybe it makes sense in this time of uncertainty to add that on as a potential option. We can do projections just a la carte. It's a little bit of a different process and different cost as well, but we can do them one-off as opposed to all projections throughout the whole year. So watch out for that. That's going to come out next week. If your tax return's not done, please check your portal, make sure everything has been submitted there. And we're just continuing to do our best to focus on getting all the tax returns done and that we can in the next couple of weeks. Then we're going to switch to second quarter projections. And then after that, the beginning of July, we're actually going to focus on extensions. So if your return's not done before June 15th, chances are we're not going to work on it until after July 15th. And we'll also be taking a much needed break too, because with tax season plus the SBA PPP loans, we've really kind of been going since January, February, or even December in some ways. And so if you want your return done sooner, that needs to happen in the next 2 weeks. So just make sure you coordinate with us, check your portal, or make sure you've replied fully to emails. We're doing our best to keep you informed as we can, but we really appreciate you working with us as well. So in summary, make sure that you've paid yourself either through one half of your owner draw by now, or one half of the maximum that you could qualify for that payroll if you're an S corporation. If you have questions, please let us know. Feel free to reach out. Also, remember to check with your bank. Your bank is going to be a really wonderful resource as well for that. We've received a lot of questions about EIDL loans as well. And my advice very generally is why not? As long as you are in this period of uncertainty and you can use it for working capital day to day, including paying yourself, I think it's a really good opportunity. The key is make sure you have a clear plan for that money. It's easy for people to get overwhelmed with debt, and I know that's a real consideration. So just be realistic about what you're going to use it for. I recommend something like a 5-year plan, at least a budget through 2021, and then you have a clear purpose for that money. So as always, thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, comments, like the video, and we really appreciate all of you and hope that you're well and safe. Thanks.